Hello and welcome to Lovely English Stories. Thank you for stopping by. This story is written for intermediate English learners. Ready? Let's get started. B1, B2 English Story. An Anxious Mind. Harriet had never experienced this feeling before. She never understood it when people claimed to feel stressed or anxious or on edge. She had always been a calm person. Even as a teenager, when her hormones were running all over the place, she never felt particularly concerned. She flew through her GCSE exams and progressed on to college with no worries at all. Harriet left college and pursued a career as an accountant. She knew the job sounded boring, but she thoroughly enjoyed helping people with their finances, and she was good at it. Fast forward 10 years, and now, in her 30s, Harriet had started to experience a strange feeling in her chest. She often felt jittery, shaky, and unfocused. She struggled to pinpoint why. Harriet had a very normal life. She grew up in a working-class home with her mum, dad, and older brother. She went to school, got a part-time job at 16, and then left college to start a training scheme to become an accountant. Nothing out of the ordinary. Then, at the age of 24, she moved out of her family home and got her own place. Shortly after, she met Liam, who would become her boyfriend for the following 8 years. The first few years of their relationship were happy. They had similar interests. They both liked to work out and explore new cultures. Harriet got on well with Liam's family, and Liam's family loved Harriet. Everything seemed to be ticking along just fine. Then, 5 years into their relationship, the cracks started to show. Liam didn't have any real drive when it came to his career, whereas Harriet was moving up the career ladder at lightning speed. Harriet had ambitions and wanted them to buy their first house together, whereas Liam had a more laid-back approach to life. In the early days, this worked well, as Harriet gave Liam energy and Liam calmed Harriet down. Now it felt more like it was dragging Harriet down. She was fed up with making all the decisions and being the leader of the household. She wanted Liam to do his share. After lengthy discussions, Liam admitted he wasn't happy with his life. He felt he had made some bad choices when it came to his education and where he wanted to be. He expressed a desire to travel and maybe move abroad for a while. Harriet was shocked. She knew Liam loved to travel, but she didn't know he had considered moving to Australia, about the furthest away from the UK he could get. This brought about many feelings in Harriet that she had never before experienced. She suddenly felt let down, but also like she wasn't good enough for Liam anymore. She felt like she was boring and unadventurous. She was no longer enough for him to be happy. Liam didn't want to leave Harriet, so they decided to take sabbaticals from their jobs and went to Australia together for 3 months of travel. They had both saved up enough money to be able to have a budget trip, which would consist of a lot of camping and staying in cheap hostels. Harriet was looking forward to the adventure, but she was apprehensive. She knew she shouldn't have to change herself to keep Liam happy. He had to be happy within himself, and if that meant leaving Harriet, that's what he had to do. They flew out to Perth and spent a month exploring the west coast of Australia. They visited the pinnacles and slept in the open air by the Margaret River. They then travelled over to Melbourne before working their way up the east coast to Sydney, Byron Bay, and then finally landing in Brisbane. They had a wonderful time, and Harriet still looks back on those months as some of her most treasured memories. The only problem was, throughout the 3 months of their trip, Harriet was on edge. Of course, through rose-tinted glasses, she no longer remembers those feelings of anxiety. She knew Liam was loving Australia far more than she was. She knew he was in his element. Harriet, however, was looking forward to getting back to the UK, to her job, to her family and friends. Upon their return to the UK, with their lovely tans and a bag full of mementos, the cracks began to grow. Harriet got another promotion, and Liam began to feel resentful. He didn't want to pursue a career in the UK. He wanted to be in Australia. Harriet began to feel incredibly anxious. She couldn't imagine her life without Liam, but she also couldn't imagine continuing to feel this way. She tried to do everything she could to please him. She paid for holidays, they went out for dinners, they tried new outdoor adventures, but Liam's smiles always seemed surface level. He was not content with the life he had. This continued for 3 years. Harriet grew tired and heavy with the emotional drain. She told Liam many times that he was free to go and explore. Harriet got close to breaking point. She helped Liam apply for his visa to live and work in Australia. He was successful. She even drove him to the airport and shipped over his belongings. A lot of people thought she was mad, but she wanted to encourage him to pursue the life he really wanted, not the one he thought he should lead. Harriet, now at the age of 33, was single, living alone, and doing well in her career. At first, she felt like a failure. She looked at her family and friends and saw couples and babies and dogs and houses. She didn't have any of those things. All she had was a feeling of pressure in her chest and the notion that she wasn't good enough for someone to love her. She decided to look into why she was feeling this way. Her anxiety was out of control. She would wake up feeling breathless and shaky, and she went to bed with thoughts swirling round and round in her mind. She needed an off switch. She spent most of her time away from work replaying scenarios she had experienced with Liam. She overanalyzed everything. She read letters, emails, and texts to try and figure out what went wrong and why she felt so unworthy of Liam's love. She tried yoga, running, deep breathing, meditation, and healthy eating. It helped a little, but it didn't really scratch the surface. After talking things through with her best friend, she realized she needed a break away from everything that reminded her of Liam. For some reason, being in the same town and surrounded by all their memories made her feel anxious and on edge. She took a trip to the Welsh countryside and stayed in a beautiful cottage, alone, for a week. She booked into a local health spa and had massages and facials, and she went along to a couple of organised treks. Each day, she felt the smog lift from her mind. With each step she took on the hilltops, she felt clearer and calmer. She just needed a break away. She needed to wind down after years of trying to please others. Now she had to please herself, and having trips away pleased her. Of course, she loved her job, and she was very career-focused, but she also needed time to recharge and take in the beautiful nature that surrounded her. When she got home, she signed up to join a local walking group. She also called a therapist and booked an appointment. She wanted to talk to someone about her feelings. She no longer wanted to feel unworthy or boring. She knew deep down she was none of those things. For now, Harriet's anxious mind had calmed a little. She knew, like with all emotions, her anxiety could come back again whenever she might be stressed or sad. She hoped that slowly, as her broken heart mended, her anxious mind would calm too. What do you do when you feel anxious or stressed? Tell us in the comments below. We hope you enjoyed this lovely English story. Thank you for stopping by. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. See you soon.